Hello, all. I hope everyone is doing well. We are continuing with our weekly portion, and today we are in the portion of Tzav, uh, the Hebrew for command. And this, of course, still God speaking to Moses. This happens to not be the first word of this week's portion, but the sixth word. But it's the first distinctive word that we have, and that's why we start with it with Tzav, command. Um, the first the first portion of this weekly portion focuses more in more detail on the sacrifices. However, we touched on that a few times. So I think we'll focus on the second half, which is a greater discussion with regards to the priests and their rituals. And so in Leviticus 8:24, we are told, and he brought Aaron's sons, and Moses put some of the blood on the tip of their right ears, and on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet. And Moses dashed the blood against the sides of the altar round about. Right, so very, very mystical thing going on here, so to speak. Curious ritual, and we have to ask why is this blood being sprinkled on the bodies of the priests? So understanding this requires some exploration of the intricate relationship between the physical and the spiritual aspects in Jewish ritual practices. And there's a lot of symbolism over here as well. So the ear, the thumb of the hand, and the big toe of the foot are body parts that protrude outwards in the human body. And with these, a person faces the external world, so to speak. So we have the ear is turned toward the world, and it's in an intellectual manner, it's receiving impressions from the world. The hand, specifically the thumb, symbolizes the technological progress we could achieve with these thumbs as well, and our hands, and with the things we create. The foot symbolizes physical progress and movement in space, moving forward. And we could see here that there's a place to sanctify these 3 points in which a person faces the world. Now, while a person brings the sacrifice, usually he remains in his humanity and he brings a sacrifice to the altar in his place. But this act of sprinkling the blood on the body of the priest himself becomes the altar. And therefore, when they sanctify him, it's exactly the same way that Moses has sanctified the other parts of the tabernacle. Now, another part of this ritual is Moses himself is dressing the priests. So here too, we have to ask, why is this happening? Now, we've mentioned this in the past, how the Torah of Moses is an intellectual Torah from a certain degree. And the entire Torah of the priesthood of Aaron is a lot more imaginative and ritualistic. So we could say that because these are two different dimensions, that are disconnected from each other, they should stay completely separate. However, we are told in Exodus, we've read earlier on, and you bring near yourself Aaron, your brother, right? Meaning that God didn't want the Torah to reveal to us. Not only did it want it to reveal to us that there needs to be a connection between these two Torahs, but the way to do so is Aaron needs to come closer to Moses and not the other way around. So this reminds me also something else we mentioned in the past about Hillel the elder, who said that we should be like the disciples of Aaron, who love all the creations and bring them closer to the Torah. Whose Torah is he bringing them close to? To Moses' Torah, of course. Now, because Aaron is the mediator between the ordinary person and the exalted Torah of Moses, Moses himself has to be the one who dresses Aaron in this special process. The priesthood fulfills an important role of purifying the imagination of the person, not by opposing the intellect against the imagination, but through positioning holy imagination against an impure imagination, right? Realizing the forces in the imagination and in nature, but orienting them properly. Until the person is capable of reaching an elevated levels of power of imagination, which the pinnacle of this is prophecy. Like we say in Hosea, for I granted many visions and spoke parables through the prophets. One of the challenges, of course, of renewing culture in the land of Israel is the recent generations' renewal of the sanctity of imagination. And Rabbi Kook, in his book Orot, mentions that for a long time in the exile, there was a sense that we lost our strong sense of imagination, and this was the result of excess intellectuality. And this was for a good reason. We were focusing on the Talmud, we were focusing on our text to make sure we don't fall into idolatry. However, in the last generations, we are witnessing a phenomenon where the modern culture is being re-enchanted and starting to sanctify the imagination and give more space to the subjective, which will hopefully assist in the renewal of the prophetic culture quickly in our days, as we say. I wish that the leaders of our communities, of our nations, will try to think of more imaginative ways to create a peaceful world, a healthy world. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care.